Hello, it is Michael Whitehouse, the guy who knows a guy. I'm doing a little bit of an experiment here because I'd scheduled one of the Prepare for 2021 goal setting planning workshops for 10 o'clock today. I neglected to actually actively promote it. I got the first two. The first two had some good turnout, and then Thanksgiving and everything got busy. But I had this time set aside to teach a bit about goal setting and planning, and I said, what the heck, let's hop on StreamYard and try it out. So I'm experimenting. Hopefully you can hear me. I can't actually see your comments because I'm using my phone for this, and so hopefully the connection's good and everything. But what I wanted to do was kind of do the condensed version, the lecture version of the goal setting workshop. Because of course, when I do the course, it's interactive. The webinar is interactive. It's really working on your individual goals. But that means I can't really share it. I tried to record the first one and nobody talked. So that kind of defeated the purpose of it. So I realized I should just record one like this. And if I'm going to do it, live is honestly the easiest way, because otherwise I got to create the file and upload it. And it's a whole big thing. It takes forever to upload. So I'm just going to do it live. We're doing it live. And I'm broadcasting out to the world where I can't see your comments. So I'm working without a net here. So hopefully you can hear me. If you can't, well, you'll just tune out anyway. So it doesn't really matter. The reason I wanted to do this workshop is because a lot of people have had a rough 2020. It's been a tough year for a lot of people. But here's the thing, 2021 is not going to be any different if you don't make plans and take action. If you're just like, well, December 31st, 2020 is done. It's not how it works. January 1st is just going to be the 367th day of 2020. So if you want 2021 to be a different year, to have a different experience and live a different life, you've got to make plans. You've got to set goals. So I kind of toss up three questions here. Where will you go? What will you do? Who will you be? Kind of some thought joggers. Think about what you want to be in the future. And some people talk about 1-year plan, 5-year plan, 10-year plan, those kinds of things. Those are kind of a good idea. The problem with a 10-year plan is if you told me 10 years ago I'd be where I am today, I'd be like, I guess that's theoretically possible, but it didn't really fit. It wasn't really something that made a lot of sense for me. So this idea of a 5-year plan works great if you're going to be like at the same company for 5 years, or if you can predict things. But you often can't predict that far ahead. So I don't like to stick with particular numbers, but I like to go with more broad generalities and then focus down to the specifics. So that's what I have written here is the DGOSTA strategy, which is dreams, goals, objectives, strategies, tactics, actions. DGOSTA. I know it's an awful acronym, but it fits what it is, and I can remember it. So now you can remember it. So the first step with the DGOSTA concept is the D. I used to just be GOSTA. I added dreams because a lot of people's goals are very specific, or they're someone else's goals. Your parents think you should make a lot of money, so your goal is to make a lot of money. Or you watch a lot of YouTube videos, they talk about making a lot of money, so you think you should make a lot of money. But there's plenty of people who are rich and unhappy, and plenty of people who are broke and happy. So money is not always the goal. It's a good default. If you're like, I don't know what else to do. Yeah, make money. Sure, decent goal. But money is not motivating by itself for most people. So an exercise I like to do to kind of figure out what your goals should be. Now, if you know your goals and you've already worked this out, you can skip this part of it, send it to someone else, go get a snack, pause for a minute, whatever. But is dream. Dream big. Dream crazy. What is your perfect life? Reality is no object here. If you want to live on the Starship Enterprise with Captain Picard flying through space, that's your dream. If you want to have a harem of 77 wives, that's your 77 husbands. 77 husbands and 77 wives, whatever. That's your dream. Nothing is unacceptable in this dream idea. Now, we're doing this for a reason. So if you are actually playing along at home, it'd be great to maybe take out a notepad and write down some dreams. Write down, what your ideal life is. Where do you live? What do you do? How do you spend your time? Do you have kids? Do you spend your time with kids? Do you have pets? Do you have animals? Do you have a rocket ship you fly to Mars in? Do you lead an army? Like anything you want. Anything you want. This is total fiction. What makes you think that would be amazing? That would be the best life ever. Dream. That's your dream. Okay, think about that for a second. Write that down. Now, the next step is we're going to look at goals. And give me 1 second. I'm going to check, make sure this is still broadcasting. Yes, and people are watching. Look at that. Sweet. I'm broadcasting and being watched. Amazing. What an age we live in. Goals. This is where you take your dreams and you kind of narrow them down a little bit into reality. Now, not realistic, but reality. So if your dream had been to fly around in space with Captain Picard, you cannot do that. Captain Picard's a fictional character. But there's some pretty crazy things that are possible. I don't know. One of the examples I just threw out was leading an army. Well, do you actually need to lead an army? Like, does that have to be a military organization, or you want to lead a team doing something exciting? Like, do you have to be killing people, or can you lead a team to fight polio? Can you lead a team to do marketing and promote businesses? Would that serve the purpose? Think about your dream and distill out of it what about the dream really excites you. Some people are like, oh, I want to be on a spaceship. Why? Because spaceships are quiet and lonely and nobody bothers me. Well, it's kind of 2020's like, so not a lot of people are thinking that right now. But, I hate dealing with people. So I want to be like Lewis and Clark exploring the wilderness. Well, do you really want to live in the wilderness? No, I kind of like running water and toilets. Okay, cool. How about working from home? Kind of like the wilderness, except toilets, which makes the wilderness, it makes living a little more pleasant. So distill out what about that dream you really are excited about it. And now kind of think about the real world. Where in the real world can you find that? Can you find the thing that made your dream exciting? And now think about what will it take to get there. So maybe you want to not have to deal with people. You want to be a writer. You want to be living in the mountains. Great. Well, what would you need to do that? One, you could become a professional writer, and that would allow you to do it. Or two, if your writing is not going to pay, you'd have to get a certain amount of money. So you may monetize your goal, your dream, but the goal would be, for example, being able to live in the mountains, or not having to deal with people, or leading a team, or changing the world, right? Big, broad goals. Now, you've heard of SMART goals. We're not talking about that. We're talking about broad goals. Paint a picture. Don't write a story. Paint a picture. The next step is going to be writing a story. Paint a picture broadly. What's your goal? Now we come to the objective. Oh, objective. This is where you put structure to your goal. This is the SMART goal you may have heard of, which is specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and timely. SMART. So the objective is where you bring numbers to it. So you want to live in the mountains, which means you don't want to have a job. So you want to be able to live off your savings. What would that mean? Well, you need $1.2 million to do that. That's like a retirement target, assuming you have low overhead. So you need $1.2 million. Okay, that seems like a crazy objective, but it's doable because the standard for realism is, has anyone in the world done it? And if they have, you can. Now, it might be a bit late. Now, if you're 75 years old and you want to get $1.2 million, the clock might be running out on that audacious a goal, but you can go for it, or you can find other ways to do it, other strategies. But so the objective, gets that more specific to be living in the mountains, $1.2 million so you can retire. Or a business with 12 employees. It's a small army. Or, making $6,000 a month because that's going to be enough to cover all your bills and have a decent living and be moving forward. Whatever it is. The objective is where you put numbers to it. The numbers may not be dollars. The numbers may be 1,000 people on your email list. It may be, that's probably more of a tactic, but it may be getting on stages to speak at 20 events in 2022. Whatever it is, something that measurable, so you'll know you hit it. So that's your objective. That is taking your goal, which is a painting, and specifically putting numbers and details to that goal. All right. Now, how do you do it? Strategies. So strategies Sometimes they work together. Sometimes it's one or the other. An example I use in one of the free handouts I give is, let's say you're driving to Boston. You're in Connecticut and you want to drive to Boston. So there's a few strategies, or you want to get to Boston. There's a few strategies you can use to get to Boston. You can drive, you can take a train, you can take a bus. All right, those are each strategies to get to Boston. Drive, train, bus. Well, if you decide to drive, there's different tactics you can use driving. You can drive on 95. You can drive on Route 1. You can go 395 to the Mass Pike. You can take surface roads. It's a number of different tactics. And then the actions would be drive out of your driveway, turn left, go to the on-ramp, turn right onto the on-ramp, drive 70 miles, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All the individual action items within there to make that happen. So those are exclusive strategies. You can't take the bus and take a car. You can do one or the other. Whereas if your goal is to become a well-recognized speaker and get invited to 20 different appearances, then your strategies might be build a YouTube channel and build an Instagram channel and build an email list and build a network. So each of those work together. Any one of them might get you there. All together, they work together. So those would be your different strategies. Build an email list, build a YouTube channel, Instagram, network, et cetera, et cetera. And you can have any number, right? I default to 3 because it's easy to draw, but you can do as many as you want, as few as you want, as many as it takes. And this isn't crucial, as many as you can follow. If you have 19 strategies, you have no strategies. You just have a list of things you might do. You need to have something, few enough that you can focus them together. Now, the strategy could also be build a social media presence, in which the tactics are Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. And so you're kind of looking at it as a unified strategy. But the strategy has to be one thing that all fits in together. Right. And things, is kind of fluid, as you can tell. So, if your objective is get 1,000 people on your email list, well, you could look at that as a tactic. And it's kind of fractalizes too. Effectively, it's this thing leads to this thing leads to this thing. So this is not a cast in stone. This is more a way of thinking to organize how you do your goals. So, your strategy might be build your social media presence. Your tactic would be Facebook following, Instagram following, YouTube following, LinkedIn following. Your actions are then all the actions execute that tactic. So, for example, to build my social media presence, and I've got to admit, I don't have a solid objective on my social media. It's kind of a thing that I'm doing to be ready. I'll talk about that in a minute. But let's say that's your objective, is build that. So tactics include live videos, daily Michael's motivation videos, direct prospecting with people, email list, different things like that. Action items. Now, I have recurring action items. Every day, I record a video and upload it to a number of places. That's a series of recurring actions. Then a lot of one-off actions. For example, plan a goal-setting workshop and then invite people to it. And in the event it doesn't happen, do a live instead. So this is the general outline of it. Now, the goal of it, the goal of this process, if you do it well, is you will have a series of action steps. And you can then employ these in a larger plan. There's a concept called the 12-week year, which I'm quite fond of. It's basically, instead of planning in years, you plan in quarters, 13 weeks, 1 week to plan, 12 weeks to execute. And during that time, you can follow something like this. There's a whole book on it, which I recommend you read. And honestly, I must admit, I have not. But I've gotten the concept from it, and so I do plan in 13-week increments. So, and of course, things are changing so rapidly in my business that I've had to be doing a lot of pivoting to keep up. But if you can plan in 13-week increments, which you should be able to once your business settles into a routine, which I expect it will next year, you set your goals for that year, that 12-week period. You figure out your objectives, the strategies to get you, the tactics to get you there, and you should have an action list. And ideally, and not everyone's going to be able to do this every time, but ideally, you create a list of actions. You estimate how long those actions will take. You can then put them into a calendar. It is theoretically possible, very difficult, theoretically possible to create an action list for 12 weeks and have your calendar blocked out. If you've put all the right action items in there, then 12 weeks from now, you will have this achieved and you'll be in the place you want to be. And that's time to plan the next one. That is ideally how this works. It may take some practice. It may take some iterations. It's okay if you screw it up. It's okay if you screw it up. Nobody's going to get mad at you because most people don't set goals at all. So if you set goals and you screw it up, or you set goals, you don't set the right actions, you set goals, you get 3 weeks in and say, oh, that's not where I want to be going. This isn't working. Now, don't constantly give up and try another thing, but you may get there and be like, I hate this. I hate doing it. I hate my life. I have to do it. I want to do something else. Or this should have worked by now. It's not. Now, you do it for 2 days. You don't know if it's working or not. You do it for 2 weeks, for 2 months. You might know. Depends on what it is. If you're building an email list, and I learned this from Lois Kofi, you got to build it over time. You try to get 5 emails a day. You do that for a year, you have 1,500 emails. You do that for a week, you have 35 emails. 35 emails aren't getting you anywhere. 1,500 are taking you somewhere. So you can't do that for a week and be like, I'm not getting any results. Of course you're not getting any results. You haven't done anything yet. It takes time to build that up. So as much as possible, ideally you plan it ahead. And here's the really cool thing. Here's why this helps, especially if you have ADD like me. What, huh, squirrel? Oh, the really cool thing is this removes the executive planning portion of it out of the action process. You plan, you act. Plan, act. I don't know about neurotypical people. It's funny you call it neurotypical. I don't know any of them. I know like 3 people who don't have ADHD, but neurotypicals apparently can like act and plan at the same time or something. ADHD people, creative people, most entrepreneurs I know, if you try to act and plan and in the same session, if you have 2 hours, you get 20 minutes of work done because you spend an hour and 40 minutes being like, okay, what should I do now? Should I do this now? No, maybe I should do this. Oh, maybe that's important. Oh, I should probably do this over here. Oh, no, this is probably important over here. And then nothing gets done. Whereas if you separately, and I try to do this every Sunday, I'm not always successful. I try to do it every Sunday. This process basically, so my week's already planned. So when I sit down to work on Tuesday or Thursday or Friday or whatever, I say, it's Tuesday. Let's look at the list. Boom, 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 boom. I get a bunch of stuff done. That's how it's supposed to work. Doesn't always work that way, but that is how it is supposed to work. So that's the concept. I hope you have found this valuable. I'm going to step aside again so you can see this. You want to take a screenshot or whatever. Let me see if there's any comments. Walking around to the other side. And we don't have any comments, but I do see a heart. So thank you. Thank you, random citizen, for hearting this. Hope you found this valuable. Please do leave a comment. You can email me at michael@guywhoknowsaguy.com. I'd put it in the lower third, but again, it's on the other side of the screen here. Yeah, later I'll up my technology. I'll get like a camera, hook it up to a computer, and it'll be great. In the meantime, I just speak blindly to this little dot and hope people are hearing me and like it. So if you have enjoyed this, share it. It is a live video. So when you share it, as soon as I hit stop, it's going to be uploaded. And anyone who's watched the recording, you can watch the recording again. I would love for you to do so. And let me also share with you the big, exciting thing I'm working on right now that you may be interested in. It's called Conference 21. We have currently 28 speakers confirmed. I expect we'll get into the 30s before I close applications for speakers. We've got some incredible people coming, talking about all kinds of stuff. Go to conference21.com. If you click Learn More, you'll be taken to the speakers button. Or actually, I did finally put a header on there. So if you click Program, you'll see all the speakers and what they're doing. Well, almost all of them. I didn't put myself on there yet because the cobbler has no shoes. I will be speaking on networking, possibly goal setting, possibly networking, possibly both. I don't know. I'll be speaking on something. I'm working that out. Mostly I'm working on making sure there's a conference with lots of really awesome people. So go to conference21.com. Here's the best part. For all these speakers, and we're going to have networking opportunities. We're going to have virtual speed networking. So much cool stuff happening. It's only $21. $21. So usually you go to one of these conferences, you can't have lunch for $21. You got to get a hotel room, you got to travel there, you got to do the whole thing. It takes up your whole weekend because you're there. Now you get the immersive networking, which is great. We're doing our best to simulate that in the digital space, but you don't have the cost. You're not paying for a hotel room. You're not paying for a plane ticket. You don't have to drive anywhere. You don't have to find babysitting for the kids. In the comfort of your own home, we are bringing together speakers from 3 countries, maybe 4 countries. I don't know where all from. I think 4 countries and like 16 states, talking about everything from marketing to mindset to goal setting to entrepreneurship to entrepreneurial health. If you can think of it, we've probably got someone talking about it. And if we don't, let me know, because I can go find someone if you're like, I'd really like to hear about this. So go to conference21.com and sign up. If you sign up before December 31st, you will get free access to the exclusive Friday networking event, which is speed networking with, of course, the best planning ahead people. The best planning ahead people? Sure, I'm going to say that. With the best people. I'll say with the best people and the speakers. So great opportunity to network. Definitely recommend you sign up before December 31st. You can get into that without having to pay extra for it. So conference21.com. Definitely check that out. Be sure to add that to somewhere in your goal structure, because whatever you're doing, connecting with good people and learning some new things is probably going to help. So I'm Michael Whitehouse, the guy who knows the guy. I appreciate you watching. If you have been watching, as I said, I can't see the screen. Maybe you're not. Maybe you are. If you are, great. And please do share this so that other people can benefit from it as well. See you later.